quick heads up, if you're interested at all in picking up a Scuf controller for the holidays, now is the best time possible to do so. My friends over at Scuf bumped my discount code of Espresso up to 10% off as opposed to its normal 5 from now through Cyber Monday. It's the best deal of the year, so if you're interested, head over to their site and use code Espresso. For Modern Warfare, it seems like the 2-week pattern continues. Launch, 2 weeks later, new maps, 2 weeks after that, new modes and Spec Ops content, and now, not even 2 weeks following that, Season 1 of Modern Warfare will be kicking off, just at the turn of the month on December 3rd. Earlier today, we got a blog post as well as an announcement tweet from Call of Duty detailing a little bit of what we'll end up seeing at the start of December and then further on throughout the season. So today we're going to break down that preview and we're going to give you everything you need to know about the upcoming content additions for the game. So that said, do be sure to let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below if there's anything in particular out of what we see today that you're interested in, anything that you're hoping to see with this update coming as of the next week, and anything in between. And also, do be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Not only are we on that road to 300,000 subscribers, but thanks to the hospitality of Infinity Ward and Activision, we'll also have a ton of footage coming this weekend early relating to Season 1 on the channel. So we'll be giving you all the lowdowns of everything you need to know about each edition coming to the game a few days before it drops. So stick it here if you don't want to miss any of it. But anyways, let's jump into the information at hand today. At noon Pacific Standard Time, the official Call of Duty Twitter account ended up tweeting this out: our most ambitious season of content ever. The first season of Modern Warfare is nearly here. With the image you'll see on screen right now, there is a lot to break down here with this, and there's a lot that's listed. And it ends up stating that this is the biggest free content drop in Call of Duty history, playing again into the fact of reiterating that everything we see here post-launch content is going to be free. There are going to be things inevitably introduced with the shop and such, but the big things that everybody is interested in, that being the maps, the weaponry, and all things like that, it's going to be entirely free to the players, and it all begins on the 3rd. So out of the promo imagery, we end up seeing that we have new MP maps, a new ground war map, 2v2 gunfight maps, new modes, new Spec Ops experiences, and new weapons, and probably some other things thrown in the mix there as well. If we're talking about the whole season, maybe that's everything that we end up seeing at the end of it, but it seems like, especially also based off the blog post we'll see shortly and discuss here in a second, that is something that also mentions that there's going to be more throughout this. But breaking down this just image of what we see, we end up seeing the return of Crash, Vacant, and Shipment, and then also we end up seeing in the ground war category a new map of Port, which you can actually see off in the distance, if I'm not mistaken, from, I want to say, Tovorsk District. I also think it might be Kravnik Farmland. I think it's situated in between both of those, but this seemingly is going to extend upon that world of ground war, that world of Spec Ops, and give us a little bit more playable in terms of all of that. And this is slightly off topic, but I still definitely think that if there's going to be a BR, which some game files indicate towards, we'll be seeing this as part of that playable world as well. Then we also see there's going to be those 2v2 gunfight maps of Cargo, Atrium, and then what's listed as and more. We don't have any more listed outside of that, but that could be anything from 1 to 2 to maybe 3, 4, and upwards of that throughout the entire season. Then multiplayer modes that are listed are that of Reinforce, Gunfight, OSP, which we saw in the beta, and honestly, up until seeing this, I didn't even realize that that wasn't a thing in the full game up until, well, this. And then Infected, the fan favorite, will be returning as well. There's a handful of new Spec Ops experiences, including Bomb Squad, Grounded, Pitch Black, Just Reward, and even more listed here, and then 2 new weapons of the Ram 7 and the Holger 26. Now, the one thing that I am a little bit curious on is the fact that it says that it begins on December 3rd and free same day on all platforms. But I also think it's imperative to know that not all of this is going to be coming at launch. I think this is still something that showcases all throughout this season, and so therefore maybe expect a handful of these to be coming, and then again as we progress through that 2-week interval, we see 2 weeks after the launch of this that a couple of more maps are introduced, maybe a new Spec Ops mission as well, 2 weeks later, and then again same thing happens. That pattern just continues. I don't think that I'm expecting every single piece of this on day 1 of this season 1, but the wording is a little bit ambiguous here with this and doesn't provide too much clarity. So we'll have to wait and see how time allows this to play out. And then once Tuesday rolls along, of course, we'll know for certain. Then following up a little bit on this, the official Activision account ended up tweeting a roadmap announcement of Modern Warfare with the changes to the rules of engagement as they say it. And again, brand this as the biggest free content drop in franchise history, to which the vast vast majority of what we see in this blog is already kind of at a glance explained by that image that we just showcased, but it goes a little bit more in depth with the descriptions with what we'll be able to expect out of specific pieces rather than just an at-glance image. Now, kind of compounding on that confusion that wording may have a little bit is that it says the free content available to all is a look at the free Modern Warfare content all players will have access to that starts next week and will continue throughout the duration of Season 1, and that's where it goes on to list, of course, everything else that we see here with this. But we end up seeing that Crash is the iconic COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare Remastered map that's returned with all the flanking routes and rooftop action that you remember. Vacant is, of course, that abandoned office and complex. Shipment is going to be a multiplayer 6v6 and gunfight map, it seems, here at this one. And as much as I love the chaos of Shipment, I'm a little worried how much those head glitches with mounting is going to go down, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. They describe a little bit of the new ground war map of Port. This is something that you can battle across massive shipping crates, cranes, buildings, and streets for a little bit more of a unique ground war experience. The 2v2 gunfight maps of Cargo and Atrium are also listed, where Cargo is an open roof storage vessel for shipping containers on the docks of London, and so it seems like what we saw to that leaked game files and imagery of the Wetworks reimagination here, that's going to be 2v2. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, and I kind of had that thought going into it because it did look so small, so close quarters, that 6v6 play on that probably would have been absolutely insane. So we'll see how that one plays out as well. Atrium is said to be the centerpiece of the Verdansk Palace, still intact despite the conflict raging nearby. And then for the game modes, we end up seeing that Reinforce, Gunfight OSP, and Infected are all going to be coming back. Reinforce being a hybrid of Dom and Search and Destroy, which is a single life mode with both teams competing to control all 3 flags. This being a game mode that was in Call of Duty Ghosts and also Infinite Warfare, in which whenever you end up dying, you end up going into Spectator as if you were dead for a round in Search. But if your team ends up capturing one of those 3 flags on the field of play, a player respawns and then it brings a player back into it. So kind of like Cyber Attack, Search and Destroy, and Domination all rolled into one as a little mashup. Curious to see how it plays within Modern Warfare this year, but it was something that was cool in years past. Infected is one that's a fan favorite. There's really nothing that I think can be said here outside of that. It's a lot of fun, super stoked for that one to return. And then Gunfight OSP, again, mentioned it earlier. It feels weird that it wasn't in here from launch whenever we had it in the beta, and also, of course, that alpha that we had for 2v2 on PlayStation 4. And then Spec Ops has, again, a handful of different things coming to it, that being firstly Bomb Squad, in which forces loyal still to Barkov have planted explosives around the city of Al Rab, and you're there to defuse the situation. Grounded sees you with enemies that have seized Barkov's former airbase, and you have to engage and eliminate them. Pitch Black is an experience where you have to infiltrate Barkov's former estate and recover all the required intel before an exfil in the Tactical Rover. And then Just Reward is also where your squad targets the head of the enemy financial operation, hacking his data centers and gaining intel. Apparently there's going to be more coming along with that, but that's what's listed so far, and that's the content that we saw out of that. But additionally, this blog post also mentioned the Battle Pass a little bit. It doesn't give too much information, and it says to check back at a later point here, mentioning December 3rd again as that launch day, and they'll probably have something up that details it in full. But it says that every single member of the Modern Warfare community can earn some of the tiers within the forthcoming Battle Pass system, including cosmetic items and 2 new base weapons. Look for more information about this on December 3rd. Those weapons being the Ram 7 and the Holger 26. The Ram 7 is a bullpup assault rifle, and the Holger 26 is an LMG, which I've seen a lot of people asking me if you can make the G36 out of it. That'll be interesting to see. I have no idea, but those were listed here as well. And what gets me out of this Battle Pass is that it says players can earn some of the tiers within the forthcoming Battle Pass. So I'm wondering if that means the Premium Battle Pass is a continuation stream, or if it's actually like its own secondary stream on top of that, but it's just worded very curiously, and I don't necessarily understand that just as of yet. But that said, that was everything within the tweet and also the blog post. We did get from the Snapchat AR filter, one of the things that press and some YouTubers got before the reveal event back in August. That updated a little bit, and it showcased actually 2 new operators coming as well, Mara and Nikto. We don't really have too much information on them outside of this Snapchat AR filter, and what was a little breeze through that. But for the time being, that's kind of all we know here with this. So there's definitely going to be a lot coming within this update for Season 1. And to wrap this up, I just want to say, listen, I know that there's still a ton of work to be done on this game for how the fundamentals are handled. There's a lot that I still hope gets addressed and I hope gets worked on, but I seriously do applaud the team team at Infinity Ward for the content updates, the art directions, and all that kind of stuff, and what we know, what we've seen so far. We've already, through Modern Warfare's first month, had larger updates and more DLC drops in the first few months of Black Ops 4 and other games previously. Love or hate the game, I know it's not going to change people's opinions on their level of enjoyment, but I really don't think that you can deny that they're pushing that content support as much as possible, and I think it's been phenomenal thus far for quantity. If all things keep up, it seriously does look like we'll be getting content every single 2 weeks for an entire year, which is like, I wonder if I'm dreaming at some points, because every single year previously, the best that we got was a content update every month with maybe a map or two, and we're getting more than that every 2 weeks spread out across the varying modes of Modern Warfare, and it's all free. So that in and of itself, I'm super thankful for, I'm super happy for, and that gets me excited. There's definitely still those things that do piss me off fundamentally about the game and will make me take a break for a day or two, maybe even a little bit longer, but when it comes to the content, what we see here today is something that I'm genuinely interested in playing. I'm genuinely interested in getting my hands on and having a little bit of fun with it while I can. So that said, that's everything coming with Season 1 here, and of course, like we mentioned, stick it right here on the channel for early access content coming throughout the weekend. But that said, let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Is there anything in particular you really liked, you maybe didn't like, whatever it is, feel free to let me know. But that said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare. And of course, like we mentioned, we're gonna have some early content, so stick it here on the channel so we can keep you up to date with everything you need to know. But also, if you want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube, but practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But all said another way, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.